Welcome to Your Ultimate Life podcast, where we help you break free from mediocrity and create a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy. Get your free video series at yourultimatelife.ca.
Good day, evening, morning, wherever you are. Welcome to Your Ultimate Life. Really, welcome to Your Ultimate Life. I say that all the time, and you might be thinking, he doesn't even know what kind of a life I have. Well, you're right, I don't. But here's what I know for sure. You can have any life you want. Remember that poem that said, I'm going to misquote it, but it said, I settled with life for a penny, and life, at the end of the day, life would pay no more. No matter how I, cried or whined, that's all I could get. And then I learned later life would have paid any price I had requested to start with. And so today's podcast, I called it, Are You Addicted? And, addicted is a word, addiction, addicted, addict, it has these negative connotations. And at the same time, we use it sometimes glibly, like it's, kind of funny. Oh, I'm addicted to that series, TV series, or addicted to this or that. So let's get all that out of the way right now. I'm not talking in a funny way. I'm not talking in a silly way. And I'm also not talking about hardcore drugs or sex or shopping or gambling or some other devastating addiction, although those are included in what I'm talking about, but I'm not talking only about those. So let's define addiction for a moment. How about if we use as a working definition, just for this conversation, addiction is a habitual response that feels almost out of control, and we do it to the exclusion of other things that we sort of somewhere feel like we ought to be doing. Now, in the case of drugs, I used to have a serious drug addiction. I turned to those, different ones, all kinds of them, although the big one for a long time for me was cocaine. I turned to those for numbness because my soul was hurting with loneliness, and my guilt and disconnection and being ostracized from my family and having 3 divorces and just all kinds of stuff. I hated myself. So I turned to drugs for numbing to that, alcohol and different drugs. And that was a habitual response to that pain. Another addiction is shopping. A person goes shopping because the acquisition of new stuff makes you feel good. Or sex, you feel somehow physically deprived, and that stimulation creates positive neurotransmitters. And whether it's online or in person, that's a harmful, well overused, can be overused. Saw a tragic statistic the other day. The most popular site, hear this, most popular site on the internet is a site about pornography. That is such a heartbreaking statistic. Like, what is so miserable about our lives that that's the most popular place for people to be? So anyway, those are all addictions. It doesn't matter what it is, a habitual use of some action. And in addict circles, they call that acting out, right? Using whatever the thing is. But I want to talk about things besides those big, heavy hitters. Okay? I want to talk about mediocrity. I want to talk about settling. The last episode before this, I was talking about learned helplessness, where we learn to act like we're helpless. We learn to wait for or expect others or outside influences to rescue us, to take care of our needs and struggles. And when it doesn't happen, then we're helpless. And so we talked about that. This time it's about this sort of addiction idea where we have a habitual response that we go to. Now, I am personally acquainted. I coach, obviously, so I have lots and lots of clients I've dealt with over the years, and thousands of acquaintances, people that I've met and entered into conversation with. I met someone, a delightful person on the airplane the other day, flying home just a week or two ago, and just had a conversation with them yesterday about their desires to coach and about, the courage to go do things, and about an addiction that we often see, and that is an addiction to the idea that I'm not good enough. What I have to say won't matter. My life doesn't really mean that much. I really can't make a difference. All that kind of language and ideas was present for this individual as it is for many. And, I used to live there, but I now know different. I'm going to share that knowledge with you right now. It doesn't matter what's come before. It doesn't matter where you've succeeded or failed. It doesn't matter how many letters you have after your name. It doesn't matter whether you've, had a death in the family recently and overcome that, or had some addiction or bankruptcy or one of those big things. None of that matters. What matters is you here now. You matter now, and you can have a big impact. If you want to love and serve with your divine or chosen purpose. I don't say divine, that may have some elements in it, but your chosen purpose. So many times people say to me, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. What is my passion? How do I follow my passion when I don't even know what it is? You know what? Pick something. Get busy. Get in the game. Get on the court. So today we're talking about the question, are you addicted? And one of my favorite phrases is addiction to mediocrity. And mediocrity is another poison word. So we can call it settling. We can call it giving into the idea that this is as good as that I can ever make it. Okay? Now, I'm not talking about living in constant discomfort where you hate or have an aversion to your circumstance. I'm going to paint you a picture. I want you to imagine a situation where you, not somebody out there, but you are in whatever situation you're in, and you say, you know what? I love the situation that I'm in, even if there are things you want to change. So just go with me here. Don't argue yet. I love the situation that I'm in. There are so many things about that I love. And I have goals for tomorrow, for next week, for next month, for next year, and 5 years from now. 2 years from now, I'm going to be living in a 6,000 square foot house on 3 acres overlooking the ocean. That can be a goal, a real, live, vibrant, powerful goal. And at the same time, you can say, and I love where I am right now. I'll tell you why that is the most intelligent way to go about this. Because when you fill your heart, your mind, your veins with neurotransmitters of dissatisfaction, frustration, negativity, that crap, we get stupid. You get stupid. Your creativity goes down. Your ability to vision things goes down. Your resilience goes down. Your perseverance goes down. And this is science. This is not woo-woo talk. And here's why. The neurotransmitters, the chemistry in our bloodstream associated with unhappiness, frustration, blame, guilt, negativity are corrosive. They are not energizing. They do not stimulate higher brain function. They stimulate lower brain function. They stimulate defensive actions as opposed to creation actions. So the idea to say, I love where I am, and I have goals starting tomorrow, today, tomorrow, next week, month, year, etc. That is the most powerful stance you can have about life. Meeting every day with intentional joy, focus, and choosing to love what is the most powerful way you can meet each day. Now, I use the word choosing on purpose because it's a choice. One person can look at their bank account, their situation, and everything else and say, I hate it. I hate how I got here. I hate whoever dissed me, that put me here, or whoever, betrayed me, or I didn't get that, blah, 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 You can choose that, or you can look at exactly the same situation and say, I love it. I love it because I said so. I love it. And I'm working on some things. I got stuff. I got irons in the fire. That's more creative and more powerful. Now, you can argue with me if you want, and I don't really care. That's science, and it's demonstrated over and over again. But instead of arguing, what I ask you to do is explore. Go with me here. Go with me. And this is way different than fake it till you make it. Fake it is pretending you have something, whether it's confidence, cash, or something, while inside you're living the world of, I hope nobody finds out, oh crap. That creates the poison energy. So that's opposite. I'm talking about genuinely creating the positive neurotransmitters, which you can do through meditation, declarations. I have a morning ritual process and everything outlined in a powerful, powerful book. This one, Living with Purpose and Power. Now, I challenge you to get this, not because I care about selling books, but because I care about your life and your heart, and that you're not addicted to mediocrity, to settling for the easy and obvious. I care that you commit to creating the most out of yourself, the most fun, the most money, and the most impact. The most fun, the most money, and the most impact. You can have all three of those. They're not mutually exclusive. You don't need to live in a job or a situation where you hate it and you're going to tolerate it for another day, week, month, year, decade, and hope things get better. You are more powerful than that. You have access to infinite creative energy. Now, you look at this picture behind me. If you look, I hope you're watching the video. Man, I hope you're watching the video. One, you could see the cover of the book, Living with Purpose and Power. Isn't that a fun cover, that energy and all that stuff? Two, this painting behind me, I got it from a website called 1000 Museums. And it gives away free backgrounds like this and others that I use. And I love this one. And I don't remember who painted it. And I'm not an art connoisseur, but it was a beautiful picture that attracted me. And so I'm using it today because here's the thing. The artist who did this poured their creative soul on canvas and invited us to participate. Now, it looks like a Van Gogh. So Vincent Van Gogh, it's up here in the corner. There it is, Vincent Van Gogh. Art people would know from the style that was Van Gogh. I'm not that good with art. Anyway, so Van Gogh poured his soul into this, not having any idea if somebody was going to like it or love it, but he chose to express himself in this way. And he did with many, many paintings. Many artists, for the first many years of their lives, and sometimes for their whole lives, but many years don't have the kind of acclaim. Stephen Pressfield, who wrote the book, he drove a cab for a long time and struggled to be a writer, and now he's legendary. He wrote The Legend of Bagger Vance, which was turned into a movie, and he's now written a whole bunch of books called The War of Art, The Artist's Journey, Turning Pro. The last one that I have is Put Your Ass Where Your Heart Wants to Be, which is really about showing up in the game. Now, all that conversation is the opposite of the idea of being addicted to mediocrity, addicted to settling. Here's my work. I am the ultimate catalyst for personal transformation. A catalyst is a thing and a chemistry thing that makes stuff happen that wouldn't happen otherwise. I'm that catalyst. What it means in a practical sense is I provide frameworks, tools, books, examples, encouragement, energy, and sometimes permission to those ending their addiction to mediocrity, the addiction to settle, especially those with massive hardballs from life thrown in the mix, who will no longer be defined or limited by those things. These few, and maybe it's you among them, are done settling and ready to create big things, as only you define those big things. You're committed to live powerfully instead of with the obvious and easy. So here's an invitation for you. Look at your life. If you're thrilled to the ceiling, if it's a 10 out of 10, then I would invite you to connect. I'd love to talk with you because I love having guests on these shows who describe their own choices and journeys. They're always powerful. People come to a realization that they have control and they create a life that they love. And I use the word ultimate life and define it as a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy. And other people use other words. What are your words? So if you have that already, let's talk. Reach out to me on social, okay? Or go to the website, yourultimatelife.ca, yourultimatelife.ca, and get on my list And then let's talk. And maybe you want to be on one of the shows. And if you do, the email is meetwithkellan@gmail.com. Meetwithkellan@gmail.com. All right. So let's talk about what it means to identify an addiction to settling or mediocrity or giving up, or the phrase, guess this is all I get. One symbol is you just go through every day kind of, or most days anyway, in kind of a daze where it's just like, oh, today isn't all, this didn't happen and that didn't happen. I'll just get through it. Hope tomorrow's better. Okay. Oh, today's a good day. Wow. I wish I had more days like this. Knowing that most won't be. That's mediocrity. You're an addict. Hear me. You're an addict. You can stay there. You're free to. You can deny it. You're free to. Or you can say, you know what? I don't want to live like that. I don't want to be in a place where I settle. This is about as good as it gets. Imagine if you lived your life where every day, every single day, you said, I love this. This is the most stoked day. And you feel that burning energy and you're like, yeah, let's get on it. Great day, fabulous day. And you feel that way no matter what happens. Even if you get a letter from the IRS, or a deal you were working on falls through, or you find out someone is ill, or even you find out someone dies. That doesn't change your ability to love and to live into a great day. Your heart may be full of empathy and love. Your heart may be full of sorrow about losing that relationship. But your underlying envelope is one of power and creativity and love, and you look for ways to lift and bless and serve. Now, if it sounds like I'm talking some foreign language, you can't live like that. Here, let me share something with you. I used to live all of my life, every day, sort of at the mercy of what happened around me. Whatever happened, the weather, things at work, things in relationships, that determined my internal weather. What I have realized is none of those things can impact my internal weather unless I give them the key. That doesn't mean I ignore them. It doesn't mean I don't take action when I need to. It simply means that I can choose to be happy. I can choose to lean into the wonder of life every day. And that includes the wonder of all the difficulties and failures and illnesses and death. Death is a beautiful transition. I just went a few days ago to a conference, International Association of Near-Death Studies, where I was a speaker and met there were 500 or 600 people there, and I didn't meet all of them, but I met maybe 50 or 100. And it was magic to meet people and hear their stories. It was sad to see some who were controlled or, had abdicated their sovereign control because of external events. And it was uplifting to see others who weren't, who knew things because of their experiences and then were determined to share, lift, bless, love, help, serve. Like you and I, we were built literally, physically and spiritually to love and serve. You know how I know? When we are experiencing or giving love and service, we have certain neurochemistry in our body, oxytocin and dopamine and serotonin and some good stuff. And they come in a formula that God created that makes us feel good, connected, powerful. Now, I don't know exactly how it works, but we know that there's two parts to us. We have this physical box that we're in, skin bag, some people call it. And then we have a spiritual container also, right? You know that. I know that. And there must be some kind of spiritual neurotransmitters also, because there's a spiritual elevation, an energetic, that's not just the body. The body feels good when we have that set of neurotransmitters when we're in love and service to each other, and the spirit feels elevated and good. So the story I make up about that is that there's some kind of spiritual neurotransmitters that activate in the energetic body, the spirit body, or whatever. I don't know. But it feels that way to me because not only is my body happy, but my spirit is happy, energized. And you know what happens? You get insight, you get intuition, you get downloads, you get entire books and programs and thoughts given to you, entire songs, ideas for entire courses that you may want to create, ideas for how to craft a deal that you're trying to do or how to handle a difficult situation. Those all come when your spirit is in that elevated state. Now, you may say, okay, well, that's nice, but that only happens once in a while. And no, it doesn't. It happens every single time you do the steps to make it happen. If I'm going to tie my shoe, I reach down and I do the things that I learned to tie my shoe. And if you watch somebody else, they might tie their shoe differently. And you see that they flip it over this way and that way, right? And now with all the slip-ins, nobody ties their shoes anymore. But I still have some shoes that tie. But I've noticed that. Some people tie it this way and some people tie it that way. I want you to think about that. You right here, right now, you can create a process to activate your spirit and be in flow state and get intuition. Now, imagine for yourself right here, right now, what if you knew the steps to get yourself in that elevated state of creativity, power, flow state, and you knew exactly how to do it, and you could do it anytime you wanted? What would happen to your productivity? What would happen to your joy? What would happen to the level of fun that you have every day in your life? What would happen to your bank account if you were at your A game all the time? Well, you know what would happen. Everything would go up, 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 up. And yet we settle for crumbs. Now, if you want to know how to do that, the website here, www.yourultimatelife.ca, 5 keys to your ultimate life. The steps are too long to fit in this episode. What I have done to do it is also in this book, Living with Purpose and Power. I have a personal constitution that is so powerful, it makes me weep and tremble with joy and with fire every time I use it. In the talk that I gave this last weekend, I shared a piece of it with the audience, and there were tears. There was a guy that got up during Q&A, and he could hardly formulate his question because he had been so powerfully affected. And that's not to say, yay me, it's to say you have that ability, because there's nothing special about me. And if you'd like to learn, read the book. And if you'd like my help, get a hold of me, because that's my favorite thing to do, is help you end addiction to mediocrity and create yourself so powerfully you can accomplish and have anything you want. Hear me, anything. Nothing is beyond your capability to create. You're children of God. That means we're the same. We're in embryo, in development still, in growth stage. Think of a baby growing in the womb. It's a growth period for 9 months, and for us, it might take 9,000 years. I don't know, but the possibility is there. So if you find, here's the signs, if you find yourself complaining a lot, if you find yourself feeling resigned a lot, if you find yourself energetically exhausted on a regular basis, like you go out and do battle with the difficulties of the day, and you're exhausted. If you find yourself pointing blame outside of yourself, the government, the weather, your partner, the economy, other people and other things. If you find yourself blaming your past, addictions or abuses or trauma, you're addicted to mediocrity. You're addicted to numbness. You're addicted to taking no action because you either believe it won't matter or you feel like you can't. You feel like and believe the story that you are unable. You are unable to do that. You know what? Those stories might be true today, but they don't have to stay true. That's one of the things, or maybe the thing I love most about coaching, is to be the person who opens the blinds for someone, who helps them open their own blinds to at least see, there actually is another possibility. I don't have to stay where I am. I'm here, and there's no judgment about that. No harm, no foul. Nobody's blaming anybody for being where they were. I mean, think about me when I had that out of body and spiritually transformative experience in August of 2007, when I was a massive addict, and the list of brokenness is longer than I can list. The divine intervention didn't force me to do anything, and it didn't suddenly change who I was. The only thing it did is it let me see through the blinds another possibility. Oh, there's another way to be. And just that sight and thought gave me the start to go look. How do I do that? Who do I talk to? What do I need to do differently, even a tiny bit at a time? Because I like that picture. I like that thing I saw. And I didn't even see a thing. It was if you want to know it, that's in a different book called Tightrope of Depression. My journey from darkness, despair, and death to light, love, and life. Because 2 weeks before that had happened, I'd attempted suicide for the second time. So I invite you to just consider, are you addicted to mediocrity? Are you giving up? Are you addicted to sameness? Are you numbing yourself with television or mindless activities or computer games or substances, or, one of the more serious ones that are perhaps more difficult? Are you telling yourself stories about you can't and it won't matter anyway, and I'm not good enough, and who cares, and I have nothing? And all of the variations of that story are poison, and they are symptoms. If you're a doctor diagnosing, they're symptoms of an addiction to mediocrity, to settling for crumbs compared to who you are and the strength and power that you truly have. So the question to ask ourselves is, what is the first action that I can take or think about, even if it's only in my mind? Who can I talk to? This is an opportunity. This is a wake-up call. If you want it, you have power. The reason I love the work of coaching that I do so much is I get to be the one that helps people look through the blinds and see a thing. See a possibility they couldn't see before. And just seeing it can give enough motivation. What I've learned is what I said earlier: we're built to love, we're built to serve. And when we do, we have more power, more creativity. We also have more impact. We make more money and have fun. Impact, money, fun. Impact, money, fun. Do you want that? Maybe you have all you want. But if you want help, that's all I do. So I invite you to connect. And if you don't want my help, then get somebody to help you. Don't stay where you are unless you choose to be satisfied. But you're better than that. You have the ability to create the life you dream. If you close your eyes and say, I wish, fill in the blank, you can have that. It's not easy, and there's a road to walk, and there's no magic wand, but you can have that life. I call it your ultimate life. And there is always, 100% of the time, a road from where you are now to where you want to be. The only question for all of us, for me and for you, is, am I or are you willing to walk that road? Sometimes it might be steep. Sometimes it might be crawling over broken glass. So the only question is really, how bad do I want it? Do I want it bad enough to go do the stuff? Well, that's our question, isn't it? I want to make sure that you leave today knowing that I love you. I believe in you. I respect and honor your divine right to choose and your divine nature, which means you have all the capability and possibility that I've described. You're amazing. You're wonderful. And I invite you to connect if you'd like to. And no matter what you do about connecting or talking to me, I invite you to recognize your own capability, divinity, possibility, and to then make a choice because you can to move forward with all your heart, with your love and your power, so you can enjoy every day your ultimate life.
Open your heart and this time around, stand.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. We hope that you take it deeply into your heart and decide for yourself how you can create anything you desire. If you like what you heard, please subscribe to this podcast and share it with your friends. As always, we'd love to hear your feedback and topic suggestions. Until tomorrow, this is Your Ultimate Life with host Kellan Fluckiger.
Stand with your heart in the sky and your feet